Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear friends, I would like to thank Harvard Pakistan Forum for giving me an opportunity to speak to you. I would have very much liked to be there amongst you to interact and share my views and concerns. As I speak to you, I have once again been placed under house arrest for the past 1 month. Arbitrary curbs and restrictions are a regular feature of the state against me. During the past 27 years, at the whim and will of the state, in defiance of all international laws and in violation of basic human rights, I am repeatedly arrested or detained and even prevented from offering Friday prayers. For the past 6 years, I have not been allowed to offer Eid prayers. My passport stands impounded for many years now to prevent me from reaching out to the world community. Same treatment is meted out to all leadership and political activists in Kashmir by the Indian state who challenge the status quo on Kashmir and strive for the resolution of this longest standing dispute in the United Nations Security Council in accordance with the promises made by the Council, that of giving the people of Kashmir the basic right, the right to self-determination for deciding their destiny. Friends, more than 700,000 Indian troops are used as an instrument of control to hold on to our territory and people against their will, making Kashmir the most militarized zone in the world. Sweeping powers and complete immunity from accountability or prosecution has been provided to them by the Indian state under such draconian laws as the Armed Forces Special Powers Act, the Public Safety Act, the Disturbed Areas Act, and so on. The result of this unbridled power and immunity given to the troops has been mayhem and massacre across the length and breadth of the valley over the past 70 years in general and the last 30 years in particular, when the people's struggle for self-determination became an open revolt against occupation. More than 100,000 people killed, tens of thousands disappeared, tortured, maimed, blinded, hundreds languishing in jails, women dishonored, natural resources plundered, economy shattered. Friends, humiliation and harassment at the hands of the forces is an everyday occurrence in the life of an ordinary Kashmiri. Kashmir is a classic case of occupation. All forms of repression are in place. There is no scope and space for peaceful means of resistance or protest. Human rights violations and state threats to people keep touching new low daily. Communication links with the outside world are repeatedly snapped to block flow of information. Most Indian media has become an extension of the state and its propaganda machinery. Friends, India has virtually declared a war against the people of Kashmir. Repeated mass uprisings in 2008, 2009 and 2010, or in the most bloody summer of 2016, are met with same response: ruthless repression. Year 2016 saw the state crushing us and our resistance to its unprecedented brutality. In 4 months, 120 civilians, mostly children and teenagers, were shot dead. Over 17,000 injured, with many losing their limbs. Over 1,000 people blinded by directly firing pellet guns at them, and more than 20,000 youth arrested. The repression continues unabated, with loss of life and limb almost on a daily basis, arbitrary arrests and detentions, torture of youth on a daily basis as a part of the state policy to tame people. As a consequence, our fourth generation since 1947, born and raised in such repressive environment, is getting impatient and hitting the street with fatal consequences as they are shot and killed. It is also pushing many among our educated youth to a path of armed resistance, when again they get killed by the forces. both situations are a matter of grave concern and worry for us as we are losing our future generation. Recently again, we were made to go through the drill of so-called elections to the Indian Parliament. On the day of polling, 8 youth were shot dead and hundreds injured by the troops. As the youth came out on the streets to resist, with less than 7% voting, the rejection of Indian occupation and political system is clear. Although the UN Security Council repeatedly made it clear in 1951 and 1959 that elections in Kashmir had no bearing on the disputed nature of Kashmir, which has to be resolved through a referendum. The Government of India exploited these so-called elections internationally as an expression of people's opinion in its favor, which has been completely deflated. Friends, as you are aware, the issue of Kashmir is primarily about the people of Kashmir and their right to self-determination. Our struggle is rooted in a quest for justice and dignity. We are the victims of sustained aggression from a democratic state, which uses primarily undemocratic ways to extinguish our right to self-determination. The best way to address our political aspirations is that the UN be proactive and honor its commitment made to the people of Jammu and Kashmir through various resolutions of holding a referendum for self-determination, or to get the issue on the table for an imaginative solution among the 3 stakeholders of the dispute, namely India, Pakistan, and the people of Jammu and Kashmir represented. The Indian state is intransigent and insists Kashmir is its integral part. To listen to Kashmiris, it has been an endless struggle for the past 70 years, and every time we confront a dead end. Pakistan, being a party to the Kashmir dispute, while providing moral, political, and diplomatic support to our cause, has repeatedly asked India to come to the negotiating table to resolve the issue as per the people's aspirations, but to no avail. India keeps snubbing these efforts. The Government of India attempts to delegitimize our freedom struggle, which began even before India's struggle for freedom, by equating it with terrorism through an irresponsible and false discourse. 9/11 provided the Indian state an excuse to put the Kashmir struggle under the rubric of terror. In the post-9/11 Islamophobia environment, it fits well with the broader narrative. Kashmir happens to be a Muslim majority territory, and India is using it as a pretext to demonize a people as terrorists and miscreants. Kashmiris are suffering. Our lives and future is at stake. Kashmir is akin to a tinderbox at present, with extreme volatility in the political situation, and without timely intervention by the world community, the consequences are bound to be ghastly and catastrophic. Thank you very much.